Trump, hands down, whenever you put him on the air, now this is before he was running for president, he was an open book.
We have to talk about Donald Trump. He's a big character in the book because
he was a big character on my show.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. You say one of your best.
Everyone. The political scene was shaken today as famous radio host Howard Stern made a shocking claim about Donald and Melania Trump's marriage during a live TV interview, causing the former president to spiral into a very public meltdown. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Stern, who says his info comes from multiple high-level sources, reignited long-standing rumors about the Trump marriage and also revealed how thin-skinned the ex-president is when it comes to personal matters. Speaking on CNN this morning, Stern, who has known Trump for years, was asked about Trump's recent erratic behavior. What he said next sent shockwaves across the media. Look, everyone in New York knows the truth. This isn't a real marriage. It hasn't been for years. Melania stays because of the money, the lifestyle, the NDA, but she's mentally checked out. Trump's terrified of her leaving because it would ruin the perfect family image he's been selling to his supporters for decades. Stern said that he went on to say that Melania lives in her own quarters at Mar-a-Lago, barely sees Trump unless they're appearing together in public, and even negotiated her own post-White House financial deal to maintain independence. Just minutes after the interview aired, Trump erupted on Truth Social in a series of all-caps rants. Howard Stern is a washed-up loser who begged me for ratings for years. Nobody cares what he says. Melania and I have the best marriage, better than anyone's. CNN is fake news. Stern is a Democrat stooge. And everyone knows my wife is the most loyal in history. His angry tone only added to the suspicion that Stern hit a nerve. Political analysts pointed out that Trump's reaction was unusually explosive, suggesting that the marriage claim struck deep. While some might see Stern's remarks as tabloid gossip, the political stakes are real. Trump's image as a strong, confident man is at risk. His supporters have long believed he's the ultimate alpha male. A billionaire who won over a loyal, elegant wife. If that image cracks, so does a piece of his carefully crafted persona. Melania's silence is loud. Unlike past scandals, she hasn't defended him. It's a major contrast from her 2016 speech where she stood up for him during the Access Hollywood controversy. Stern's claim about a strict NDA also raises the question, what could she say if she ever chose to speak out? Trump's use of NDAs for staff, friends, and even family has long been debated. Online, the story went viral instantly. Hashtags like #Melania and #TrumpMeltdown trended globally. Popular posts included lines like, "Trump is panicking because Stern just said what we all knew," and "Melania is just waiting for the check to clear." One viral meme showed Melania watching from her separate room at Mar-a-Lago with her "I really don't care, do you?" jacket. This isn't the first time Trump's marriage has drawn headlines. Ivana, his first wife, once accused him of rape during their divorce, a claim Trump denied and she later walked back. The Stormy Daniels scandal and its $130,000 hush money payment led to Trump's criminal conviction. And Melania delayed moving to the White House after his inauguration, further fueling speculation. Stern's claims only added to the fire, but Trump's furious reaction shows he might be more vulnerable now than ever. So, what happens next? Melania could speak up, unlikely, but if she does, even mildly defending Trump, the buzz might die down. But if she stays quiet or leaks more info indirectly, the story could grow. Trump may lash out further, more posts, maybe even lawsuits, but Stern likely has solid sources. Reporters are already trying to track them down. If more financial or personal details surface, this could become a serious liability for Trump. He's survived many scandals, but Stern may have hit his deepest insecurity, the fear that his public image is a lie. Whether this story fades away or becomes something bigger depends on what Melania does next, and whether Trump's extreme reaction convinces people that Stern was right all along. One thing is clear, Trump's meltdown shows that, even now, nothing gets to him like the truth.
With fantasy I had, I don't know if you're going to debate your opponent. I am somewhere. I don't know when. I'm happy to debate him.
This is how I would handle it. Tell me if I'm nuts. Well, I am nuts, but tell me if this is accurate. I would stand there on stage with Trump and I would repeat over and over again, excuse me, please find me 11,000 votes so that I can win the election. I would just repeat that over and over again. And then I'd say to the audience, what are we debating? A man picked up the phone and wanted to say, fake the election, give me 11,000 votes. I don't know how any American who loves this country, that's the end of the debate. You don't get to run if you're going to fix an election.
In a surprising twist during the 2024 election cycle, legendary radio host Howard Stern stepped into the political spotlight today by giving President Joe Biden direct debate advice during an exclusive interview on The Howard Stern Show. The conversation quickly grabbed national attention when Biden dropped a major bombshell: "I'd be happy to debate Donald Trump." The wide-ranging interview shifted from lighthearted memories to serious election strategy, shaking up both political parties. Stern, known for his blunt style, told Biden, "Mr. President, here's what you need to do. Walk onto that debate stage, look right into the camera, and say, 'Donald, I know you can't handle the truth, but the American people deserve it. You're a convicted felon. You lost the last election. You incited a mob to attack the Capitol. Why should anyone trust you with the nuclear codes again?'" Stern emphasized that dramatic moments matter more than policy talk. "Forget the details, people remember moments. You need one where Trump snaps and shows who he really is." Biden responded with laughter. "Howard, you may have missed your calling as a campaign strategist." Then came the real headline. When Stern asked, "Will you actually debate him, or is your team going to back out?" Biden replied, "I debated him twice in 2020. I'm happy to debate Donald again. Let's see if he shows up this time. He does have a habit of backing out when he knows he'll lose. That clear challenge now puts Trump in a tough spot. If he refuses, he looks weak. If he accepts, he risks facing a prepared Biden using Stern's tactics." Stern's long history with Trump, including over 20 interviews since the 1990s, gives his criticism unusual weight, even among MAGA supporters. His 2016 comment, "I never thought Donald had a chance in hell to be president," went viral, and now, his anti-Trump stance could further hurt Trump's support. By choosing Stern's show over traditional political media, Biden reached a massive, mixed audience. The relaxed tone, where he shared stories about his first car, a 1967 Corvette, and his childhood stutter, made him appear more relatable than any scripted ad could. Trump's team had planned to frame Biden as afraid to debate. But now, that narrative is dead. Trump has to either debate or look scared, a huge image blow for someone who prides himself on winning. As expected, Trump exploded on Truth Social. "Crooked Joe is doing fake interviews with his friend Howard Stern, a known loser who begged me for ratings. I'll debate him anytime, anywhere, but drug test Hunter first. Stern used to be great until he went woke and became Biden's lapdog." The wild rant backfired. Social media users mocked Trump for attacking someone he appeared with dozens of times in the past. His inability to hold back even against a former ally made him look unstable. Insiders say Biden's team chose Stern on purpose, to bait Trump into a corner and show off Biden's calm, confident tone. That contrast, Biden's steady humor versus Trump's angry meltdown, perfectly frames the stability versus chaos theme of Biden's campaign. When asked about inflation, Biden avoided political jargon. "Look, eggs cost too much. I get it. But Trump just wants to give more tax cuts to billionaires. How does that help working people?" Stern's reputation for brutal honesty gave Biden's answers more weight than a typical political interview. Now the big question, what happens next? Will Trump officially agree to debate, or come up with an excuse? His campaign's first statement, "President Trump looks forward to exposing Biden's failures," dodged the question. The official debate commission may be pushed to consider new formats like town halls or solo moderators. And will this interview sway Stern's huge blue-collar audience? Early polls show independents liked Biden's casual confidence. This unorthodox interview could go down as a turning point, the moment Biden regained control of the narrative. Stern's credibility is now dominating headlines. Trump's reaction gave the story 2 full days of media coverage, shifting the narrative from, "Is Biden too old?" to, "Is Trump too scared?" As Stern wrapped up the show, he left Biden, and America, with one last piece of advice. When you're on that stage with Trump, remember, the guy who loses his temper first, loses the election. With 5 months until the likely first debate, one thing is clear, the race just got a lot more interesting.
Listen, he asked me to endorse him, and I couldn't.
You couldn't.
I couldn't. Donald and I disagree on a lot of things. And I had to say to Donald on the phone, it was uncomfortable, I can't endorse you. And I haven't heard from him since.
What could be the most devastating public takedown of Donald Trump's character ever aired? Howard Stern dropped a nuclear-level truth bomb during a live TV appearance, exposing the former president's predatory sexual behavior, compulsive dishonesty, and disturbing personal decline in just 3 words. He bleeps anything. Stern's unfiltered comments, delivered with the authority of someone who interviewed Trump over 40 times across 3 decades, sent shockwaves through the political world, and may have provided the most credible confirmation yet of the many dark rumors about Trump's private life. The moment Trump's image shattered. Appearing on CNN to promote his new book, Stern was asked about the infamous Access Hollywood tape. His reply hit like a bunker buster. Let's be honest. Everyone in New York already knew. The guy would bleep anything that moved. He walked into dressing rooms at the Miss Universe pageant while girls were changing, because he owned it and thought that meant he owned them, too. He cheated on every wife, with porn stars, Playboy models, whatever he could find. And the worst part? He thought that made him cool. Stern's delivery, part disgust, part deadpan, carried the weight of someone who had seen Trump up close for 30 years. Unlike political enemies, Stern can't be dismissed as partisan, he was once Trump's close friend and biggest media enabler. That makes his words carry terrifying credibility. 7 brutal revelations, beyond sex. Stern didn't stop at misconduct. In just 90 seconds, he tore down Trump's entire persona, the Playboy illusion. He pretended to be a ladies' man, but everyone knew he paid for it. The real power players in New York laughed at him. The billionaire lie, all that wealth. Please. He was borrowing money to buy steakhouses, slapping his name on buildings he didn't own. The racism, remember the Central Park Five? That wasn't politics, that's who he is. He used the N-word backstage. The cowardice, tough guy. He's terrified of blackmail. That's why he kisses up to Putin, the Russians have tapes. The fake marriage, Melania. It's a business deal with an NDA. Ivanka was the only woman he really respected, because she made him money. The mental instability, the mood swings. Unreal. 1 minute begging for approval, the next screaming about losers. Not normal. The ultimate betrayal, January 6th proved it. He'd burn the country down just to feel powerful for 5 more minutes. Trump's chaotic meltdown. Within 20 minutes of the CNN segment airing, Trump unleashed a 17-post meltdown on Truth Social, including, "Howard Stern is a sick puppy who begged me to come on his garbage show. I never paid for sex, but Sleepy Joe pays Hunter's hookers. Stern's ratings are worse than his lies. I was the most respected developer." The typo-ridden tirade only proved Stern's point. Trump looked unhinged. Legal experts also noted at least 3 statements in Trump's rant that could be used against him in upcoming court cases, why Stern's takedown hits harder than others. Unlike Stormy Daniels or Michael Cohen, Stern can't be brushed off as biased or vengeful. His role in building Trump's image makes his attack far more damaging. And his voice resonates deeply with working-class listeners, Trump's base, who've trusted Stern for decades. With Trump already a convicted felon and facing 3 more criminal trials, Stern's brutal truth-telling gives prosecutors the personal context they've been missing. The fallout is immediate and brutal. Late-night shows jumped on the moment. Stephen Colbert aired a supercut of Trump bragging about women on Stern's show, followed by clips of him denying those things later. Legal analysts said Stern's blackmail comments could be relevant in Trump's classified documents case. Focus groups showed that suburban women, already wary of Trump, reacted with visceral disgust to Stern's description. The irony? The very man who helped normalize Trump's image in the 90s may now be the one to destroy it in 2024. As Stern signed off, he left America with a final, brutal epitaph. The joke's over. This isn't some wacky Apprentice bit anymore. The guy belongs in a jumpsuit, not the Oval Office. With that, one of America's most infamous bromance came to an end, and possibly, so did the last threads of Trump's carefully curated mythology. The emperor has no clothes, and Howard Stern just told the world. Now, in an explosive new interview, Howard Stern is pulling back the curtain on the real Trump, exposing the man behind the carefully crafted persona in a way no political opponent ever could. This is the unfiltered Trump, the one Stern saw, the side America didn't. From the early 1990s to the mid-2010s, Trump was a regular guest on the Howard Stern show, where he dropped bombshells, bragged about his sexual exploits, and revealed a raw version of himself that was later sanitized for politics. Stern, who interviewed Trump more than 40 times, is one of the few people who can truly separate the myth from the man, describing him as deeply insecure, narcissistic, and often cruel. Trump's appearances were infamous for their vulgarity. He openly talked about walking in on Miss Universe contestants while they were undressed, boasted about cheating, and even made crude comments about his daughter Ivanka's appearance. He'd say the most outrageous things, Stern recalls, then laugh like it was a joke. But it wasn't. That's who he really was, a guy who thought power gave him the right to do anything to women. These recordings have come back with devastating impact during his political career, especially after the Access Hollywood tape. Stern adds, "The irony is, he thought coming on my show made him look cool. Now it's evidence in court." Behind all the bravado, Stern saw a man obsessed with his status among New York's elite, desperate to be seen as a real billionaire. Everyone knew he was leveraged to the hilt, Stern says. But he'd still call me after shows asking, "How did I do? Did people like me?" It was pathetic. Stern believes this insecurity explains Trump's pathological lying. He couldn't stand the idea that someone might think he wasn't the best or the richest, so he just made things up. Their friendship started falling apart when Trump realized Stern wouldn't act like a loyalist during his presidency. "He expected me to be a propaganda tool," Stern says. "When I criticized him, he lost it. Called me a traitor. That's Donald, you're either a suck-up or an enemy." For years, Stern played along, giving Trump a platform to build his image. But after the 2016 election, Stern saw Trump differently, and was horrified. "When he sent that mob to the Capitol, that was it for me," Stern says. This wasn't reality TV anymore. People died because of his ego. He admits he once found Trump's antics entertaining. "I used to think, that's just Donald being Donald. But then you see families separated at the border, the election lies, and you realize, this guy isn't funny. He's dangerous." Trump's attacks on the media, his embrace of conspiracy theories, and his increasingly extreme rhetoric finally pushed Stern to speak out. "I couldn't stay silent anymore," Stern says. "The guy I knew was a clown. The guy in the White House was a dictator." In recent years, Stern hasn't held back, dropping hints about Trump's darkest secrets, many still unreleased. "We recorded hundreds of hours with him," Stern says. "And trust me, the stuff that didn't air was worse." Legal experts believe unreleased tapes could include damaging admissions that could affect Trump's legal battles. Stern has hinted Trump's marriage is a transactional deal. "Let's just say," he quipped, "there's a reason she's never around." Sources close to Stern say he knows about prenups and NDAs that could destroy Trump's carefully maintained family man image. Once, when asked why Trump seemed afraid of Putin, Stern smirked and said, "Some things are better left unsaid, for now." The implication: Trump may have been compromised long before entering politics. Now, with Trump running again in 2024, Stern's testimony offers a crucial counter to the MAGA myth. The credibility factor: Stern can't be dismissed as partisan. He was once Trump's friend, and that makes his words hit harder. The pop culture angle: Stern's audience includes millions of working-class Americans, many who don't watch the news, but do trust him. His words could sway key voters. The legal angle: if subpoenaed, Stern's testimony could be devastating. He's one of the only people who's heard Trump speak totally unfiltered for decades. Stern's final verdict on Trump is brutal. He's not a genius. He's not a tough guy. He's a scared little boy who never grew up, who lies because the truth is too ugly for him to face. And the worst part? He convinced millions to believe it. As Trump campaigns for a return to power, Stern's revelations serve as a chilling reminder. The man America sees now is the same man who once bragged about sexual assault on the radio, who constantly craved validation, and who would burn anyone who dared criticize him. The only difference this time: Howard Stern isn't laughing anymore.